let me jump in your game. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Triple Overtime. Chris Lauk alongside Matt Hicks. And Matt, over the weekend, I was fortunate enough to catch the preview of the Joker, and personally was not a huge fan about it. I thought it was a little overhyped. A good movie, but I don't think it was uncertainly amazing, in my opinion. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a great movie. I thought it captured the essence of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, going from just, obviously he was demented, but turning into what he would become, a supervillain. Thought it was hard edge, which I appreciated about it. Had a nice hard edge to it. And I thought Joaquin Phoenix, I thought he just played a perfect Joker. I thought it was different, and I actually prefer his Joker over Heath Ledger's in The Dark Knight.
Ooh, that's a hot take because Heath Ledger kind of made the Joker the Joker. But no, I
that's another hot take. I'd say Jack Nicholson probably beat him to it.
I thought it was played pretty well. The acting was good. I don't know. I think I was expecting more action. I guess the Joker received the Dark Knight supervillain. Didn't get that.
Yeah, if you came in expecting that, that's not what you're going to get. But I thought overall it was a good film.
I think that's the point. I think it wasn't what I was expecting, but I would agree it was still a good movie. I would see it again. But we got some baseball to talk about. Over the playoffs, Yankees outscored the Twins 13-7 and basically ran away with the ALDS against the Minnesota Twins, who we thought might be a good series. You called it back last year. The Twins were probably going to sneak in there. They did, but the Yankees kind of just overpowered, just kind of steamrolled their way through the ALDS.
Yeah, Twins not looking like a 102-win team.
No, absolutely not. But I think we discussed that their division's so weak. I think
that definitely contributed to them getting so many wins. And on the other hand, their bats went dead at the wrong time. If you're an offensive team, you got to stay hot going into the playoffs, and their pitching just wasn't enough. Yankees did what they had to do, and the Yankees are a team that are built for the playoffs. They don't have those aces on top, but right. As you see, Houston's struggling with their top three starters, and the Yankees invested in their bullpen, and it looks like that's been paying off for them.
And it's amazing how LeMahieu, Game 1, racked up 5 RBIs, kind of just topping off this possibly MVP caliber year with his heroics in Game 1. But I'm not, for this Yankees team, their offense definitely is there, outscoring the Twins 13-7, getting more, just about double their runs. But I'm not completely sold on their pitching. And if I'm Aaron Boone, I'm going to expect to see a couple more bullpen games going forward because they got Canley, Ottavino, Adams, and of course Chapman. So if I'm Boone, I'm going to use the advantage of that strong bullpen going into Tampa Bay or the Astros.
Yeah, that's the advantage. The advantage of having the bullpen is you can put your best guys out there every single game as opposed to only having it every 2-3 games. So I think the Yankees crunched the analytics, and they said they would prefer to have a stronger bullpen going into the playoffs, and that's what they've had, and it's working for them.
Now their opponent is yet to be determined for a very anticipated Game 5 between the Rays and the Astros. And I think it's a Game 5 no one is really expecting. You look at the Astros, 107 wins, the most wins in baseball this year, and it kind of mimics that Red Sox team last year. They got 108 wins, kind of steamrolled through the playoffs. But, hey, the Rays put up quite a fight.
Yeah, the Rays right now are killing it. It's crazy to think that they gave Verlander everything he could ask for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He looks like he's been struggling. Rays, on the other hand, they're coming in with that underdog chip on their shoulder, just like the Nationals did against the Dodgers, and it should make for a very good Game 5. I think this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people anticipate.
Now, Houston won the first 2 games at home. They scored, I think it was 9-3, 3 times as many runs at home against the Rays. But the last 2 games, Tampa Bay is outscoring the Astros 14-4. And what we're seeing these sort of first 4 games is home field advantage is playing a big part in really the playoffs. We don't really always see that, but this series particularly has really been key for home field advantage.
Yeah, it's crazy to think because Tampa Bay during the regular season, I mean, that stadium is halfway full for most of their games.
Yeah, halfway full is like a blessing for them.
Yeah, so to think that home field advantage played such a major factor, it's somewhat surprising. But imagine, Chris, the Rays end up winning tonight, and then you have the Rays having to play an ALCS matchup in a stadium that my guess would be predominantly filled by Yankee fans.
Yeah, see, I would agree with that, but the thing about Tropicana Field, the fans are coming out. Now that they're in the playoffs, you know, we didn't really see it in the regular season because they weren't sure if they're going to make the playoffs.
I don't know, Chris. There's a lot of orange jerseys in that stadium the other night.
But it was still loud. That relay got the crowd going. We saw the home runs, got the crowd going. So they are coming up, but I do think there's a good shot that it most definitely would be mostly Yankee fans, especially in if the Yankees do sweep. Game 4 would probably be in Tampa Bay, where most Yankee fans are going to show up.
You think about it, most of the guys, big business guys up in New York City, where do they go to retire? They go down to Florida to retire. So I'm sure it's going to be filled with a bunch of Yankee fans just that have made that move. And if you're Major League Baseball, you got to be pretty mad because I think a matchup they wanted to see was Yankees-Dodgers, and that's now unfortunately impossible.
But tonight we got Glasnow and Cole. Now, unlike Verlander, Garrett Cole has been lights out every single start so far up until his last. So Garrett Cole, what are we thinking? You think he's going to choke like Verlander did, or is he going to be lights out like he was the last time he faced the Rays?
I mean, on paper, it should be all Astros, but I just kind of like the vibe that this Rays team's giving off. They're they're a chippy team. I like their manager. The manager, I think, is very smart. He's really into the whole analytics thing, and I think he's on top of a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be difficult for me to pick against the Astros just because they do have Cole going on the mound, and Cole is a dominant pitcher. He's a guy that
I think he's only gotten better since he's been with Houston, which is ridiculous.
It's crazy how many swings and misses he gets. You can look up that percentage, but it's crazy. Again, but you look at just look at the Dodgers. Look at the Dodgers. I mean, everyone anticipated the Dodgers to make the World Series, but you know, baseball's baseball. It's a crazy game. Sometimes just a couple crazy bounces go your way, and you find your way to the top. So
now you talked about Kevin Cash a little bit, the manager, and I think just for what he's done in the last 2 games, putting up this great fight against the Astros, which is kind of like this super team. I think he has winning 96 games as well. I think he has a case for being AL or Manager of the Year for Major League Baseball.
Still have to give that to Aaron Boone just because of the amount of injuries the Yankees have had sustained and the amount of wins he was able to accumulate during that time. So I would still definitely give Aaron Boone an edge, but there's no doubt that Kevin Cash is one of the best managers in Major League Baseball. No question.
Definitely the question. But National League Series, the NLCS is finalized. We got the Nats, who eliminated the Dodgers, and the Cardinals, which I thought was a little surprising because look at this Braves team. They're young and they're talented, and the only thing that points is upward. But unfortunately, the Nationals, this sort of older team with a little more veterans, kind of prevailed. We saw Ryan Zimmerman, potentially his last series coming up, kind of had a great series against the Braves. And Steven Strasburg, I think, once again, kind of showed why he's used to be one of the better pitchers in baseball and kind of supported that in this series as well.
Yeah, you can't forget about, of course, Anthony Rendon coming up with those 2 clutch hits last night. And then my boy Howie Kendrick, out of all people.
Kendrick, the former Dodger, nonetheless.
I didn't even know he played baseball, to be honest with you. I thought he was over the hill, retired, but came in clutch yesterday, hitting that grand slam, which would eventually give the Nationals the victory last night.
I think it's interesting for Rendon because he was offered that 7-year deal for like an absurd amount of money by the Nationals back in September. Hasn't accepted it yet because I think, especially after a postseason like this, he's probably going to test the market.
Yeah, I mean, credit to him. He took a gamble on himself and he took in full advantage of it. So credit to him for doing that. A lot of players have been doing that now. I can remember. I mean, you could say that JD Martinez kind of did that too. Took a gamble on himself. he couldn't get that huge mega contract, so only took a 2-year deal with the Red Sox. And he took a gamble on himself, and he will be paid big time, I think, going into this free agency, as well as Rendon. So I give a lot of credit for guys that do that. It's really risky, but these are two guys that really stepped up when they had to and took gambles on themselves, and they're going to cash out this offseason, no question.
It's funny you bring up Howie Kendrick because he's actually had the highest batting average since 2017 in the major leagues at 325. Which I thought was very impressive. I mean, I know Howie Kendrick, at least when he was younger, had that sort of contact, high batting average, but he's still kicking it at his older age.
Yeah, he's found the fountain of youth, apparently. I mean, he's doing he's just keeping it going. He's doing it under the radar. He's not a real flashy player, but as you saw last night, hit that grand slam. You could just see the electricity that he gave off after that hit.
Yeah, it was so weird. That ball came off the bat. I thought it was just a pop fly.
Yeah, it was crazy. The ball carried out of there. It was crazy.
And it wasn't even like Bellinger had a shot. It was well over the wall.
Yeah, I mean, it was way over there. And then you saw that guy on the Dodgers that hit one. He thought he hit a home run. He did a bat flip and everything, and it died. It was crazy. So, it was definitely an interesting, wacky night. And then we didn't even mention Kershaw coming in out of the bullpen. That was insane, man.
It's amazing. Like, Kershaw, you're used to be, it potentially still could be one of the best pitchers in baseball. Or
he's the best pitcher of our generation. There's no question.
It's just the postseason. This is like, 4 years in a row now he's done something stupid. Well, not something stupid, but he's blown a lead. But even on top of that, Joe Kelly, back-to-back years now, he's been the Dodger killer.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give all the hate towards Joe Kelly. He was kind of put in a tough situation there with the bases juiced. I think Kershaw, you put your best guy in for the 8th inning, you expect him to get it done, and then you hand the ball off to Jansen. And he didn't get it done, man. I mean, it was crazy. He comes in, gives up 2 home runs. You expect your best pitcher to get the job done. He wasn't able to do it.
He's got a 7.11 ERA in this postseason, which, I mean, I get if you're a starter, you're not good coming out of the pen, but that includes his starts as well. So he just is not that same dominant pitcher that he is in the regular season, which I think is amazing because you look at like Garrett Cole, he's still kicking it in the playoffs. If not, he's even better right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Kershaw is the best pitcher of our generation. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but looking back on his legacy, you'll see he had many opportunities to win the World Series, and I mean, for that team, eventually it's gonna end, right? I mean, there's only so many times. Right. Baseball's a weird game where like it's difficult to make the World Series. They made it 3 years in a row then, and then they're coming in the number 1 seed. I feel like the Dodgers came in just expecting to roll over all these teams like usual, but they came in against a real feisty Nationals team. I feel like a lot of those guys have a chip on their shoulder, something to prove since they lost Harper. And they came in and they did what they did against the Dodgers and really shocked the world, man. I mean, so credit to them.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as you brought up his name, Harper's got to be kicking himself right now because he's watching.
I don't think he cares
right now.
I'm going to say right now, I don't think he cares.
That's true. He got paid nonetheless, but
he got paid. He got paid the big bucks. He's going to go sit in Philly and just I'm sure he doesn't mind sitting on the couch right now watching the games. I just don't feel like he's that kind of player.
And the final one we haven't really talked about too much was the Cardinals-Braves in Game 5. The Cardinals put up 10 runs in the first inning against another sort of ace who kind of just didn't show up to the postseason. Fultonowicz, he's always been nice for the Braves this year. Sort of like that guy you don't expect to be good last year.
Fultonowicz has been, but he was all right last year too, wasn't he?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
he was
last
okay.
Year, you didn't expect him to be good. And this year, without Keuchel for the first few weeks, he was kind of their ace, and then Keuchel came in. But no, I think the Cardinals, they shocked me in this series.
I can't agree more. It's but I don't know, man. Anytime I see the St. Louis Cardinals in the playoffs, there's always that little part. Even though they may be the underdogs, they aren't the favorites. St. Louis Cardinals are just one of those franchises that they get to the playoffs, they got a shot to win it all, man.
It's weird because they always win this wild card game. We're like, all right, that's a wild card game. That's going to be it for them. No, they just keep chugging along. We saw it in 2004 when the Red Sox beat the World Series. They were a wild card team then. They just keep chugging along. It's amazing what this franchise can do when the odds are against them.
Right. I mean, last year they got and I mean, here's another thing too. Like Goldschmidt, he was supposed to be their savior, and he's playing okay. He's not playing like at an elite Paul Goldschmidt level.
I mean, this postseason he's got almost a 500 batting average, but throughout the year, I didn't think he was exceptionally good. I didn't think he did anything their old first baseman Matt Adams couldn't do.
Yeah,
but hey,
I think he was a lot better than that, but he wasn't. Like there were years where Paul Goldschmidt was like right up there to almost win a Triple Crown. He wasn't that.
Oh right,
this year.
Absolutely no, but he's also getting up there in age. But I think having that veteran presence definitely helps this team.
So yeah, I think having that experience, he has made the playoffs in the past. He was in Arizona, so the Arizona for the most part was bad, but he did have that one season where it was him and JD Martinez who made it to the playoffs. And like you said, just a veteran presence to kind of cool down the younger players. And I just feel like the Cardinals, they just have a really good mix of both youth and veterans. And that should be a really interesting series, the Cardinals and the Nationals, because they're both teams that not a lot of people expected to be there.
Yeah, well, it's amazing because looking at the NLDS, the two teams with the least amount of wins ended up winning. So you're not seeing 100-team wins from the National League side, at least. You're going to see 91, 93-game winners that are ending up. One of them's going to end up in the World Series, and they didn't win 100 games. I think that's kind of incredible.
But kind of got, like, just looking forward ahead, I feel like whoever comes out of this AL, I feel like it's just going to be just like it was last season. I don't think it's going to be close, man. I think whoever comes out of the American League is going to be a heavy favorite. Don't win the whole thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you, but hey, we'll decide it for the baseball guys. We'll see.
We'll
let it tonight.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna be interesting. Can't wait.
On top of a clinching game, got some football tonight. Some big football. Former rivalry football, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, I mean they're like what is it, like a 3-hour drive? So.
Well,
listen, for the people in Connecticut, it's kind of a rivalry because it's about a 50-50 mix, especially where we are. 50% are Giants fans, 45% are Patriot fans, and then like you got like the little Schmidt that are like Jets fans. But so for us, I feel like it's more of a rivalry. But I mean, since 2011, the Patriots have won 3 Super Bowls. And the Giants have made the playoffs like maybe once or twice.
It's funny because looking at the Giants right now, nothing's really looking good. Ingram, Gallman, Shepard, and Barkley are out. Those are, besides Daniel Jones, basically your playmakers you got on offense. And then the Patriots, Edelman and Gordon are both questionable. Burkhead's going to be out. And Dorsett's out. So, I mean, we're looking at a pretty heavy run game right now, if you're asking me, from the Patriots side. On the Giants side, I'm not really sure what to expect.
I think I know what to expect. I expect to see an absolute blowout. I don't think this game will be close at any point. I feel like the Patriots will establish their run game early because this Giants defense, it's kind of gone under the rug a little bit because of how well Daniel Jones has played. But this Giants defense is atrocious.
With all these receivers out, it almost makes you question should they bring back David Tyree and Randy Moss, get a little nostalgia going. But no, I agree with you. I'm assuming Edelman and or Gordon will play because those are two guys who, they're questionable right now. They still are. But the odds of them missing the game are very slim, especially Julian Edelman, who really plays through just about anything.
Yeah, he seemed to still be in a little bit of pain during the Redskins games. He was kind of like reaching for his ribs a couple times. But yeah, I think you're right. But I think one thing going into this game that the Patriots need to do is establish the run game. They haven't really been able to do it. The first half against Washington, I think they ran the ball like 3 times. Second half, they started running it, and they actually ran it with a lot of success. So I expect the Patriots to come out early, try to establish the run game, and then they have the best defense in football. So just let the defense kind of win the game for you.
Yeah, I thought Sony Michel kind of had his breakout game last week against the Redskins. Before then, especially fantasy-wise too, wasn't really putting up these big numbers, but he finally had his breakout game with a touchdown and 91 yards on the ground. So it's good to see the young man out of Georgia getting those yards, getting the opportunities. You see 16 rushes, and it's good to see a young man like him actually live up to this sort of hype he had around him last year.
Well, he had a great postseason, so you expected
Absolutely.
him to kind of take a next step, and then he struggled out of the gate. I think a lot of that had to do with Devlin being out and the constant rotation on the offensive line. But as you mentioned, really, he established the ground game early, or not early. In the second half, he really established himself. Fantasy-wise, yeah, you mentioned, I think he had like 20-plus points for the first time this season.
It's phenomenal.
So, I expect more of the same. I don't think this Giants D-line or linebackers or cornerbacks match up with the Patriots very well at all. So, like I said, I expect the Patriots to absolutely dominate. And then also, you have the fact that Daniel Jones is playing, and rookie quarterbacks, especially ones under 22, which Daniel Jones is, are winless against Bill Belichick. So I expect the Patriots just to go out there, kind of do their thing. Maybe it'll be interesting early. Maybe Brady will throw another pick at like the 1 yard line. He seems to be doing that a lot lately. But I think outside of that, the Patriots should just be another bye week. And we got the Jets next week, so another bye week until we play maybe Cleveland.
The way Cleveland's playing, that could even be a bye week.
Yeah, you can even consider that a bye week at this point.
But the spread's 17. What are we thinking the score is going to be?
Patriots will cover. I'll go 24-3 Pats.
I'm going to go 28-10. I think they're going to cover as well. I don't really see the Giants being much of a threat. They got 2 wins out of the season, but like I said, their big playmakers are out. Shermer, you don't really have much of a playbook this week.
Yeah, when you're a rookie quarterback too, I think one of the most important positions to have is a nice big tight end. That's kind of like a security blanket right up the seam for him to throw to. And he had been throwing the ball at Ingram a lot.
Right. But he's out.
So not having him, you're kind of left with a little Golden Tate action on the outside. And
that's true. This could be a big make or break game for Golden Tate. He signed that big deal.
I would disagree. Just because he has the excuse that he's playing the Patriots. He goes, I got covered up by Stephon Gilmore the entire game. Give me a break. So I don't think it's really a make or break. I think the Giants will definitely benefit of having the long week after this. It's almost like Thursday Night Football. It's almost like having a second bye week because you do have just so many days off, and they won't really start again until maybe next Wednesday to get ready for their game on Sunday. So I think that'll definitely benefit the Giants. I think Saquon will most likely be back, which will be, an hallelujah for everyone who picks Saquon number 1 overall. Having him come back, that'll be big for them. And probably having Ingram and, what's his name? Shepard. Have him back as well.
Shepard, yes. Well, for me, I got 2 football games tonight. I got the Syracuse Orange playing NC State on Thursday Night Football. A little weird for some college action on Thursday, but they've been doing that a lot recently.
Yep.
So this is their first conference game besides the Clemson game week 2, which is a little early for conference play. But first one, open it up. The NC State's favored by 4.5. I'm not feeling the best about this game. They played Holy Cross last week, won 41-3. What do you expect against a team like Holy Cross? Actually, you probably want to score 20 more points than that. But hey, the defense showed up, held just 3 points. And then before that, Western Michigan, they won by 19 points. Which, Western Michigan's a little better than Holy Cross, but still, the 2 teams.
Yeah, Conference USA school. That's not really
exactly the 2 teams that really played this year, Maryland and Clemson. Got blown out by. Absolutely obliterated.
That Maryland loss is looking real bad because ever since Maryland beat Syracuse by all those points, they have struggled. So.
Which is amazing because at least against Syracuse, that run game looked very good. So it baffles me a little bit, but that just might go to show how bad our D-line is.
Well, for you guys, NC State, you guys beat them last season, correct?
Correct.
So NC State's kind of stuck right in the middle, just I think where you guys are. So I think it'll be a competitive game. Maybe might flick over to it if the Patriot game's starting to get out of hand. But for the most part, I think I'm going to keep my eye on the Patriot game tonight. But, big game for you guys. If you guys get this win here, you got to, feel pretty good about DeVito going forward.
Yeah, we had the bye week, so a little extra time to practice, a little time off to kind of think about what the game plan really is with DeVito. I think this is a good time of the season. He just had 2 wins. Again, they weren't big wins, but they're definitely better than losing to like he did against Maryland and Clemson. So it's kind of like a refresher. You kind of reset your mind. We have the bye week early enough where the season's not totally over. They're 3-2. They're above 500. So the worst thing that comes out of today is they're at 500 again. But I mean, ideally, you want to get that win against a conference team because you got Pitt next week, which
that'll be a tough game. Pitt's pretty good.
FSU up in the air, and the real positive game I think they have a shot at easily is BC.
Yeah, Boston College. Boston College is not very good.
So.
Yeah, Boston College is very yeah.
Yeah, we're looking forward to DeVito breaking out, but Oregon.
Yes, the Ducks coming off a 17-7 win. 4-1. Yes, they're at I believe 13 on the rankings. They didn't move. They've been there the last 2 weeks. Coming off a 17-7 win against Cal. Wasn't pretty. They were shut out in the first half. A lot of turnovers, especially by the running backs. Herbert threw a pick early. So, for the first half, I was kind of squirming in my chair. But the positive thing was that the defense has played extremely well all season long. So that is definitely positive. They got 3 of their playmakers back this week. So, again, I was anticipating the Ducks to really just go out there, try to throw the ball down the field. They didn't do that. They just pounded the ball like they've had early. But eventually, they found their grip in the second half. They made some adjustments offensively. They were able to finish their drives and came out with a 17-7 win against a Cal team that had only lost 1 game going into that matchup. So, not a bad game. Got the win at home. Now they'll have to go on the road to play Colorado tomorrow night, Friday night.
Friday night's action. I like
Friday
it.
night, at 10 o'clock, so I have to stay up past my bedtime to watch it, which is okay. Like I'll do it. Colorado, a team that's right in the middle, had a nice win against Nebraska, but they've also lost a couple games early as well. So for the Ducks, I think the keys are try to get the pass game going, try to get these playmakers solidified in their offense, and just have that defense keep going, man. The defense has definitely been the strong suit for the Ducks so far. So
we talked about it a couple weeks ago. They got any receivers back yet? They still got.
They did. I did mention they got 3 of their receivers back, 3 of their playmakers back. But unfortunately for them, their halfback C.J. Verdell went down, and he's their leading rusher. So, you get 3 of the receivers back, but now you lose your leading rusher. So that kind of almost counteracts a little bit. But like I said, their defense is good. I think defense travels. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have a really, really good offense, but you go on the road and the offense easily gets phased by the crowd. But, if you have a good defensive team, I just feel like defense kind of carries better. Like you can go into a road game. It's not going to be as loud. You can still get your signals off and all that. You know what I mean? I just feel like defenses don't get as rattled on the road. So that'll help when they have to go play at USC and Washington. Those will be 2 big games coming up for them. So, if you're the Ducks, you just got to keep rolling. Just try to keep rolling off these wins. And just, I don't know. If you get lucky, maybe win the Pac-12 and get into the Rose Bowl. I feel like that's really their ceiling right now.
Look at Herbert's numbers right now. They're actually very impressive. Just the one pick he had last week, 15 touchdowns and over 1,300 yards. But I can't say I've really heard his name in the Heisman contention. I know I've been Jalen Hurts, been Tua, obviously, a little bit of Trevor Lawrence, but Herbert, I think the numbers are there.
They're there. A lot of it, I think, got inflated because they beat Nevada 77-3.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of.
You look at that game. He played really good. He played really good against Montana. Both not great schools. Nevada, a Mountain West school, and then Montana's an FCS school.
Well,
if you look at conference play, we only beat Stanford 20-7, we only beat Cal 17-7, and then we lost to Auburn. So that's why they're not talking about him.
Once they play Washington, USC, and Arizona State, he might get thrown into the conversation because those are obviously a lot more competitive games.
Well, the offense has to play better too. They got to start putting up points. They got to start finishing drives. As I mentioned, those 3 turnovers in the first half. They were able to move the ball down the field and then they'd get into scoring territory, and they would either cough it up, or they'd have to kick a field goal that they'd miss. So they just got to really focus on finishing drives. I think a lot of it has to do with our offensive coordinator, who I think is not the best. I've been saying this for a while. He's not the best man for the job. I feel like they could have gotten someone better. But, you live with what you got. We have a good offensive line. We got a great quarterback. I want to see them start moving the ball down the field a little bit with a little bit more efficiency. But
what you got, and look at that. You got 3 more receivers this week. So,
yep. So,
a little bit.
Feeling good. Feeling good. I mean, Colorado's going to be a tough environment. They'll be out there. So, but again, gotta take it a week at a time if you're a Duck right now.
Well, thank you again for listening to the Triple Overtime. Chris Loud alongside Matt Hicks. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.
You say you better.